Hi, this is Kelly Borsheim. I want to give you an update on my oil painting called Rise. You can see that I've got the figure of the man here lying with some movement in his hands, and he's coming up and his spirit is coming up and to become an owl, or however way you want to interpret it. One of my struggles in my art process is that sometimes I get a vague idea, as I showed you in an earlier video, a sketch that I had just basically two shapes like this. And this idea was scratched on a napkin like a lot of artists do. So I developed it like this, but what happens is I get to about like this point where you've got the idea basically, and yet I feel like it needs something else and I don't know what it is. So I put the work on pause, I go work on a bunch of other stuff, and then later when I'm ready I come back to this and try to finish stuff. In this case, I was thinking that this idea is a nice idea, but I wanted a little something extra in it, and it's the same thing of sleeping or taking a shower where the ideas come to you. And I had this idea of maybe other witnesses to this event happening to this man, and maybe it might be related to my Pandora painting. I did a painting called The Curiosity of Pandora, and there are spectators in the cave who are watching to see what is it she's going to decide to do, because she has a great big decision in front of her, and of course the gods knew the ending, and so did Hermes and stuff. Anyway, the spectators in the back, I think, gave it a little sort of secondary interest to what was happening with her and the jar, as you want to say. So anyway, I got this idea to add the spectators, only this time I decided to make them more of the owl eyes. So I took some chalk, some basic little regular kid chalk or whatever, blue just because it was the color I found first and it's light compared to the background, and so I started sketching things on here. I first just sort of wanted to fill in a space the way I got finished, and then decide later, did I like that, or how many numbers do I want to put in. But it's a way to do it, because if I don't like it I just erase it, and it doesn't mix anything dramatic. I can actually wash it off if I want to, and then it won't mix with the oil paint later. So that's a technical thing that I like to do, is just draw on there. Let me explain. So with the monochromatic painting, one of the things that's a really nice thing, do you see how this is an orangey, it's a warmer color and very translucent. This is the color asphaltum, painted right directly over a white canvas. And so it has this warmth to it. But as soon as I add white to the color, like here, and the whole owl has white mixed in, you get a colder version of that color. It mutes the warmth, and it mutes the chroma. So it's a nice way to say I'm using a monochrome thing, one color and white, but I can play with this cold and warm. So I want to pull up this stuff up. But I like the warmth of the glazing here. So my intention is to paint this a little bit lighter than what I want, and then later perhaps glaze it over to give it a consistency of things. Although I'm not yet sure if I'm, again, that's one of those things I'm thinking about, but until I get to that point I'm not sure what I want to do. Now, years ago when I lived in Austin, Texas, I went to the museum in Houston, and I saw at the Museum of Fine Arts a painting about this size, I think it was, and it was a man sitting at a desk writing something. There was a reflection of a head in the desk there, only it wasn't a reflection, it was oil paint usually becomes transparent. So what happened is, over the centuries, I don't know, maybe it happened sooner than that, but this is an old painting, and you could see the painting that was underneath the one that the artist later added to it. So it almost looked like the reflection of the man in the desk, except it didn't. So it probably was the artist turned the original painting upside down, because this head is looking down, so he's probably reading or something like that. And then he turned it around and he did the painting that became the painting you saw in the museum. But after a while it came transparent. So this was back in the maybe late 90s or something. And I was doing a lot of life drawing and stuff from the models and stuff. So I did one, there was a model had a reclining position, so I painted her sleeping. And then later I decided to add a face up in the left corner. and glaze over it. So I put a color solid like this, but I didn't add carbium calcium carbonate. Where's my brain? It's a white powder that we add when we want something to be really opaque and to cover up stuff. But I didn't want that. I wanted to use a transparent oil paint so that maybe at some time in the future it will have this sort of face emerging where you're not necessarily sure. Because one of the things I find fascinating is when a painting looks different close and afar. So on this case, what I want to do is a similar idea to that. I hope that collector is going to see the transparency in her lifetime, but if she doesn't, maybe somebody else will see it 100 years now. I don't know. I didn't know how much time it would take. But what I want to do is a similar idea with these eyes, wherever I decide to draw them in, because right now I'm thinking that's too parallel. These maybe are okay, but they're kind of an equilateral triangle. So it's funny because I can't do order when I want to do order, but when I'm trying to be random, we make patterns of things. It's quite natural, I think, because our brain seeks that. But anyway, wherever I put these eyes, I want to put them in subtle, but then I'll probably glaze over the top of them so that they're getting hidden a little bit. Because from a distance, I want you to see the idea, and he's the idea. He's the secondary thing, but he, this is the action that's happening, is the rise coming up from this. So when you get closer, I want you to start thinking, I'm having this feeling of being watched. I don't want it to be creepy or anything, but I want it to be subtle enough that you don't just get everything at once. It makes it more fun to put things into a painting, that little by little you see more and you see more and you see more. This is kind of a simplistic painting in that I'm not going to put a whole lot of stuff in it, but I don't need to for this particular idea. Anyway, so right now I'm using this chalk to play with where I want to put these eyeballs, and then I may glaze over that and develop this. I'm not sure how much exactly yet, but like I said, things are a process, and it takes me a while to get there sometimes. So anyway, I don't know what else I was going to say, so I'm going to start painting, or actually I may start changing this drawing stuff here. Oh, I did want to talk about this. After I put these eyes in, I counted them up. And I didn't mean to do this, but I ended up putting 5 here and 5 here. So I got sort of a balance on that. Originally, I was hoping that I would come up with a number 9, because 3 is my favorite number, and 3 times 3 is 9. So there's a perfect symmetry in the triangles, but 9 is a magic number as 3 is. But there are also other magic numbers. 10 is a number people like, 11, 12, that kind of thing. But it's a thought in my brain that I want to know what sort of symbology might relax with the different numbers. So it could be, once I create the shapes where I think I want them, I may do a little research to see what the numbers mean, because sometimes it's kind of cool to put something in with an intention. And it doesn't even have to be a specific intention for me. It just sometimes to put a little extra meaning in it. Whether anybody else will see this, if nobody sees this video, they're not going to know that I do that sort of research sometimes, because I really like the ancient symbols, the ancient belief systems, I like the thing that we used to read the stars. I like it that we used to believe in the energy that is between different things, because when we do that, we respect that this is a rock, or this fish gave its life for me. And I like those kind of ideas that we are all actually connected. And it seems like we're losing a lot of that in today's culture. So if I can put something in it that sort of refers back to that sacred sort of geometry and sacred ideas and the connection between man and the rest of the beast in the world, and even plants, that's sort of kind of where my big picture is. Anyway, I'll quit rambling now, and leave your comments, leave your questions, leave your suggestions, anything like that you want. I'm happy to read them, and I like the interaction. So you can find me on patreon.com at Kelly Borsheim. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel here if you like, and if you ring the little bell thing, you get notifications when I publish something new. and it's not too often, so you won't get too many notifications because I do too many things. But you can also go to my site at borsheimarts.com, have a look at my finished artworks, and if you like something, let me know. If you'd like to commission something, let me know that too, and just say hello. All right, ciao for now, and back to the drawing board.